So next on the list is Glenn Barich. Glenn is a lender with Bank of England. Bank of England has been around since the 1800s, and Glenn is actually the lender of choice for the brokerage here, Keller Williams on the Water in Sarasota. And this is one of the top market centers for Keller Williams in the nation. And we have over 200 agents at this office, and he's the one who works in this office. He's trusted by a lot of the best realtors at this brokerage, and he does a phenomenal job. He's been with Bank of England for 7 years. He's been in the industry as a loan officer here in Florida for 20 years. So Glenn definitely knows his stuff, and we're going to ask him some important questions, and we'll go ahead and play Glenn right now.
Good afternoon, Glenn. Appreciate you being here today, and I know that you're going to add a lot to this panel. Do you mind telling us a little bit about you and your company?
Yeah, so Bank of England it's not from England, UK, it's England, Arkansas, in case you didn't remember that. And we've been around since the 1800s. So we have branches all over the country, and we have a national charter. So I can do a loan here for anywhere around the country using my processors, my closers. So we have a pile of experience doing loans, as well as you get me working for the company that I've been with them 7 years, which is actually pretty long for a mortgage loan officer these days. But I've been doing over 20 years right in this area, handling customers buying second homes, investments, primaries, and first-time home buyers.
Glenn, what do you like about our area, Sarasota, Florida?
Wow, what do I love about Florida? Can you tell that I have a decent tan? So I play golf. And I play beach volleyball. So if ever you're on Siesta Key, come on out and check the courts, and you might see me there playing, and an old man, holding his back while he's playing a little bit of volleyball.
So Glenn, I appreciate your introduction and the introduction of your company. Can you explain to me why it's important that somebody that's moving here from another state or another city to work with a local lender?
Sure. I guess one of the biggest things is, I've been working here for over 20 years, so I've got the local knowledge of everything from the appraisers, the title companies, the attorneys, and I know everything about the fees that are involved, everything from surveys to the closing costs are involved. So when they work with me, they're going to get someone that knows exactly the numbers that are coming through and get what they're expecting.
So what is the basic information that you need to write a pre-approval letter, and can you explain the difference between a pre-approval and an approval letter?
Sure. The difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval is that the pre-qualification is a lot simpler, where basically I'm taking the information over the phone. It takes about 15-20 minutes to get the information. Sometimes I have to get some follow-up documentation, maybe a tax return to prove some income. Then I'm going to pull their credit, run the system through an automated program with Fannie Mae, and get them a pre-qualification. If they want the full pre-approval, there's a lot more steps involved in signing applications and sending it to the underwriter. So most people are just going through with a pre-qualification, and that's strong enough to get them to add that to a contract and get the seller to accept the contract.
So Glenn, are there any anticipated fees up front that a buyer would need to anticipate as far as paying for your services?
So as far as fees, we do not charge anything up front. Some of the fees that are going to be involved once you get a contract are going to be things like prepaying for an appraisal. Then you're going to typically get a home inspection. The home inspection might get you also some other reports that the insurance company is going to ask for. So we're going to give you some guidance about that along the way, but really no upfront cost to get pre-qualified.
And can you tell me, I know that appraisals right now are being sometimes as much as 30 days once the appraisal's ordered. Some banks, and I know that by working with you in the past, that on occasion y'all have ordered those appraisals at the beginning of the file instead of waiting until it got into underwriting.
So our process at Bank of England is sort of two separate forms. So we work on getting them approved with all their paperwork while we're ordering the appraisal. So while the appraisal is in process, our processors are double checking documents, get in touch with the employer, look at another bank statement, and they're trying to get that approved while the appraisal is happening. So when the appraisal comes back, a couple weeks later, we just add that to the file and finalize the approval.
And can you explain to the people that might be watching this interview why it might be important to somebody that has the cash that they could afford to buy the home? Why would they consider doing a mortgage?
Well, right now with interest rates so low, record lows, most financial planners are telling their customers to not use all their money to buy a house, that they can do so much better in the market with their money that they might as well get a mortgage and have that and do better off in a 2-year, 5-year, 10-year plan.
So Glenn, what do you think somebody's timeline should be if they're thinking about retiring and moving to Florida and buying their first home in Florida?
That's a great question, because I run into that issue all the time where people retire and then they want to qualify for a big house and they may not have the income to do it because we're kind of strict on the banking side. So a lot of times it's worth them trying to buy the second home before they retire. And then if they want to retire a few months later, that's fine. So it's best to talk with a lender up front, tell them everything you're thinking, and then I can help them guide them through the paths to get in the home that they're looking for.
Glenn, do you mind explaining why an investor might be considering buying a property in his name rather than his corporation, or what the advantages are as far as your lending side of it?
Well, there's a few things that come into play. So if someone's trying to buy in an LLC, which a lot of their advisors like, buy an LLC, it's great for you for liability reasons. But when you create a LLC, it's a company. So you're actually looking for a loan for a company, which doesn't meet sort of the basic Fannie Mae, the everyday guidelines for people buying homes. So when it turns into an LLC, we have to put it into a different program. Rates are going to be a little bit higher. They're going to have to put a little bit more down payment. So in a lot of cases, these people, I tell them, buy it in your own name. It's still going to be a little bit more down payment than buying as a primary home if they're buying an investment, but they'll put a little bit more down. They'll get a rate that's a little higher than a primary home, and then maybe just get a better umbrella policy to cover them. So that's where I leave with them and have them chat with their advisor and attorney to figure out where they want to end up.
Do you have an opinion about whether they should be buying the property in a trust versus their personal name?
So if someone wants to buy in a trust, there's not a big difference in our eyes. We do want to review the trust and make sure that it meets the standard parameters. But other than that, we don't care whether they buy a trust or in their personal name. It's not a big difference on the mortgage side.
All right, guys, that wraps it up. The most important thing I wanted to stress is that this is just the beginning. These people have all made themselves very available for you to call. We've left all of their information below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will include each one of their names and all of their contact information as well as their websites below. Just check that out in the link. If you're watching this on our website, it will also be below. And I can't stress enough, please reach out to these people. They've made themselves available for you. They want to help you. And this is just the beginning. Please do not hesitate to call me, contact Gary. We would be happy to work with you. There's a lot of things we can do remotely. All the agents here are doing, FaceTime or video showings to kind of get the ball rolling and help you out in this market. So thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to speak with any of you directly.